A very good morning to all. Today, my group and I are going to be discussing a case study on a crash that took place on September 29, 2006, involving two aircrafts, which are Gol 1907, a Brazilian airliner, and a private jet Embraer Legacy 600 over the Amazon forest vicinity. We are going to be discussing what happened and what went wrong between the two pilots of both planes and the ATC relaying information to the both pilots. The call sign for both of these planes are Gol 1907 and November 600 X-ray Lima respectively. Apart from this, the Gol 1907 plane had a total of 154 passengers whereby 6 were crew members. The November 600 X-ray Lima flight had a total of 7 passengers with 2 of them being crew members. This deadly incident had claimed the lives of all on board of the Gol 1907 flight, which was 154 lives. The sequence of events will be further elaborated by my group members.
Hi, my name is Samar Martakif and I'm holding matrix number D form 2004-905. Now I'm going to talk about the chronology of the accident of Gol Airline 1907. This accident, this case also known as Phantom Strike, and this accident happened in Brazil back in 2006, more specifically on September 29, 2006. This accident involved two different aircraft, which is Embraer Legacy and Gol Airline Boeing 737-800. 30 minutes after takeoff from San Jose International Airport, November 600 actually was flying at a cruising altitude of 37,000 feet over Brazil Amazon rainforest. The flight crew was busy. During this time, the flight crew was busy contacting Brasilia Air Traffic Control, and at the same time, both of these pilots were trying to familiarize with the new plane system. Both of them were trying to familiarize with the system because, as you all know, that this aircraft was a brand new aircraft. So both of the pilots were quite new to this. So they're trying to familiarize with the new plane system in order to deliver the aircraft safely to the United States. And then, for an unknown reason, at 4:02 p.m. local time, the transponder of November 600 X-ray Lima is no longer received by the ATC radar. And between 3:51 and 4:26 p.m., there are no attempts to establish radio communication from either both the pilot and the ATC. And some of the researchers say, some of the reports say that during this time, even the pilot didn't notice that the transponder of the aircraft was not giving any signal to the ATC itself. And after that, almost an hour since the last ATC contact, at 4:48 p.m. local time, the crew of November 600 X-ray Lima make a series of radio call to ATC, attempting to make contact to the ATC. Subsequently, at 4:53 p.m. local time, the ATC makes an additional 6 radio calls attempting to establish contact with the aircraft. The call at 6:53 was the call to instruct the pilot to change the frequency from 12332 to 12645. And then, unfortunately, the pilot was not understand all the digits and request a repeat. However, after that, there was no response from the ATC, and at this point, both of the November 600 X-ray Lima and Gol Boeing 737 are on collision course on airway uniform Zulu 6 at the same altitude. And then, because both of the aircraft were not knowing that the Embraer Legacy was not knowing that they were on collision course with Gol Boeing 737, and Gol Boeing 737 also didn't know that there was an airplane in the same road and in the same altitude. So then after that, at flight level 370, over the remote Amazon jungle. Both of these aircraft collides, and the left winglet of the Legacy contact with the wing leading edge of Boeing 737. The impact that result in damage of major portion of the left wing structure and lower skin, ultimately making Boeing 737 uncontrollable. And sadly, Boeing 737 get destroyed by an in-flight backup and impact forces.
Assalamualaikum. So I'll be talking about the impact of the aircraft accident regarding the case study of the Gold Airline Aeros Flight 1907, and also the private aircraft Embraer Legacy 600, and it was the mid-air collision accident, and it is the ITC fault. So the impact in the sector of the economy of the Gold Airline, that the company need to bear for the compensation of the aircraft, and need to face a huge loss, and also didn't quite make a profit for a few of years. And also it is the biggest disaster in aviation aircraft, one of the biggest disaster in aviation aircraft, which the Gold Airline belongs to the Brazil, and it has been given the huge impact to the Brazil society, and also the society of the aviation industry itself. And it includes with the 154 fatalities with 0 survivors, and for the private aircraft, private jet itself, there is 7 survivors with no fatalities. So that's in terms of the economics sector for the Gold Airline, and this for the globally. So this case has been an eye-opener to the aviation authority, such as CAM, IATA, ICAO, and so on, in order them to make a new law to ensure the safety of the flight. So this mid-air collision happened when both aircraft en route at the same level. So there is several law that has been implemented in the aviation industry for quite few of years, which is the semicircular rules. And the rules itself tell the ATC or the pilot how to the separation of the aircraft, the vertically or horizontally. So there is 2 different semicircular rules, which is under IFR flight, instrument flight rules, or also the VFR flight, virtual flight rules. These rules help all the aircraft to fly without worrying the mid-air collision to happen. So to conclude, there is 2 impact, which is in the economic sector of the Gold Airline, and also globally, which is for the aviation authority itself. So this incident is also well known, because well known among the aviation industry, because the fatalities and also the disaster itself. So it brings more awareness to the other airline company, and also all the pilot. So that's all for me. Thank you.
From my observation and analysis that has been made upon the investigation of Gold Airline 1907, there are few factors that and key incidents that I noticed as the main contributors to the Airline 1907 incident. So firstly, this incident happened due to the lack of training given to the ATC in Brazil. This statement is proven to be true as the rookie ATC, which is in charge of the N600XL flight, thought that the flight level of the N600XL to be the actual flight level which is shown on their radar, but however is the opposite, as the actual flight level is different from the planned flight level. Next, we also, due to the lack of communication between the pilots and the ATC, the pilots could have just confirm their with the ATC their actual flight level, and ATC could have just confirm the data that they have on their end is the correct one with the pilot, as the pilot is the one who is actually on the flight level. There is also the factors that is due to the lack of knowledge possessed by the pilot about the new technology. As the Embraer Legacy is a new aircraft, they also implement new system which is at the most which is the most required the qualified and experienced pilot to flew the aircraft. Due to the pilot's lack of knowledge upon the aircraft system, and also he is not fully accustomed to the aircraft system yet, he can't really react as quick as possible, as he's still struggling. He can't really do much. He cannot do as much as he's capable, which is he capable of to save many lives, as he still learning and still struggling to learn the flow of the system in the aircraft. Next is also the incident where the aircraft system malfunction upon both aircraft flying above the Amazon rainforest. Due to the reason why this incident happened is still unknown, or still no still didn't get any didn't stated in the investigation result. It can be said that the due to the transponders malfunction upon flying above the Amazon rainforest, the aircraft system safety systems also unable to do its purpose. The TCAS system, which is the traffic collision system avoidance system that is being implemented and that has been installed in the aircraft, couldn't do their purpose as a safety step to avoid mid-air collision, which is then all depends on the pilot's ability to overcome the incident.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mama Iman Arif bin Anwar. I'm holding metric number D form 2004906. Alright, so for the conclusion is threat is very dangerous, especially in aviation, because it can harm to the passenger or crew or airline itself. In aviation industry, there are a lot of threats that can be happen. For example, that I can give, such as terrorism, bird striking, and etc. So from the previous time in aviation, there are a lot of threats that already happened. So from that, nowadays they do the improvement, especially in the technologies or etc., to avoid from this kind of threat to be happen again. So I think that's all from us. Thank you.